Why can you go on your phone for hours but you can't even concentrate for 5 minutes of studying? The answer to this is very simple. Going on your phone, gaming, and doing things that bring you joy is a low-risk activity. It brings a high reward to your dopamine system, and it requires little to no effort. Whereas studying requires a lot of focus and effort from yourself, and it is a high-risk activity because you don't know the grade or the mark that you're going to get until after you finish the assignment or complete the exam. Stick around because this is a genuine video how I personally took my exam study time to train my brain while still being able to go on my phone and do the things that I enjoy. When we're studying, we have a fixed mindset where we think that studying is not going to bring us joy and it's not worth studying to get those grades and the high risk reward. When people are so fixated on the long-term outcome of studying, for example, if you're worried about the grades you're going to get, it's not actually allowing you to study at your full potential because you're not enjoying the process of studying and learning. So the system of studying I take is usually to do an hour of studying and to do 30 minutes of whatever I wanted to do. Over time, as you build that resistance and the resilience against studying, you're able to study for a longer period of time and have less breaks. So overall, I was able to study 1 hour and then get down to 15 minutes of the things I wanted to do. Don't take your study achievements as a mere milestone. If I complete a subject or something that I have been really struggling with, I'm going to feel so proud of myself because I have taken this opportunity to learn the thing that I wanted to overcome. If you learn to value the way that you learn and the pace that you learn things, you're going to become a lot more fulfilled when you complete your tasks. And to reward yourself, sometimes you can simply go on your phone or game or do whatever you promised yourself that you would. External motivation and the rewards that you get are the things that are actually going to drive you to study harder. Now, this is kind of a physical thing that you can implement into your study time. Me and my friend were talking about this the other day, but using a study timer is not as effective as using a study time lapse. For example, using timer is basically setting like 30 minutes saying you're going to complete this task, whereas timer is giving yourself as long as possible to understand a concept. The problem with timer is that you're so fixated on getting it done in that 30 minutes that you might actually not study and learn it effectively, because once that 30 minutes is done, you might tell yourself, okay, I've understood it, even when you haven't. Study time lapse is allowing you to take a longer time, not allowing you to pressure yourself into solving a problem. And usually when I use timer, I'm just like procrastinating, waiting for that time to be up so I can do the thing that I wanted to do. Whereas time lapse is just continuous, and once you've actually fully understood the concept, you're able to stop your time lapse. It anticipates you to set a goal. Once you've completed the goal, you have the choice, once you're in that mentality, to be able to complete more tasks. Whereas timer, it doesn't really allow you to study more than what you've set for. If you're using practice questions or exams, of course a timer is going to be much more effective because it's going to drive you to finish it in a fast amount of time while using a lot more focus. But if you're trying to actually understand a concept, I recommend using a time lapse instead. Now, this is how I tricked my brain into actually enjoying studying, because using a time lapse is pushing myself to learn more than I promised myself to do, and using a time lapse is actually making me want to spend more time on the concept and to really enjoy the process of understanding a topic. Studying can be especially difficult to track your progress, but you're not going to be able to feel motivated to study more because you're simply thinking that it's not working, it's not going to help me. But the way I track my progress is using an app or using a sheet or ticking off my to-do list and having past practice papers. I've already talked about this, but instead of just writing past papers, marking them and comparing them over a certain amount of time period, like a week, 2 weeks, a month, and over the month period, you might be able to see that you have improved. If you haven't, then it's a sign to keep on going. But if you have improved, you're actually capable of studying, you're able to understand concept, and you're actually proving to yourself that your hard work does pay off. To lower the risk of studying, simply just doing a lot of questions and comparing the answers to them makes you more confident in your ability to practice on the topics that you haven't quite familiarized yourself with and you're not quite as confident with. So definitely comparing your progress throughout a period of time is going to allow you to become more confident. You're not sure if it's actually going to be beneficial until you actually do the test. So doing questions and comparing the answers are going to help you a lot, and also having a mind map or a checklist of the whole topic and seeing if you truly understand it, making sure you're focusing on your weaknesses. And once you've improved those weaknesses, then again is that proof that you're able to study properly and that proof that you're able to push yourself. Another way is just simply start, put in that dedication. Once you get into the habit and the mood of studying, starting is much easier than you may think. So what I used to do was spend a lot of time on my phone and actually end up studying right before I sleep. But then during my exam study time, I usually went home first, and then the first thing that I would do is put my bag and then start studying. Because I'm able to start, it's gonna make that whole momentum a lot more easier instead of trying to push off the task to another side. I feel like when you're procrastinating, when you know you have to do something, the task is still in the back of your mind. It's not easier to complete the task if you're just putting it off. I cannot repeat this enough times, but surround yourself with like-minded people. Surround yourself with friends and students that actually enjoy studying, because they're going to motivate you to study as well as you're going to motivate others. So you can do this by going onto like a Discord server, a study server. There are online study groups, or just meeting up with your friends to study. You don't even have to be studying the same topic. You don't even have to be studying the same questions. But because they're there, remind yourself, that everything's going to be okay. Your hard work's going to pay off. You're not alone, and it's going to help you really study harder. I didn't study with my friends as much this exam time, but the one time that we did, I actually got a lot of things done, and I felt more confident with the topic because they uplifted me, and it also helped me remind myself that I'm not alone. I'm going to be able to get through this. Fake it till you make it. This is the most important part, and I know it might sound so stupid, but if you actually hate studying, you hate studying, so you're not going to want to study. It's simply the way you view studying and the way you think of it. If you think that studying sucks, I'm not good enough, I'm so dumb, I don't know any of these topics, then obviously you're going to be dumb. You don't know those topics because you're telling yourself that, you're reminding yourself that. You're simply just retelling yourself that you're not good enough and you're not going to be able to do it. That was how I used to think. I used to think I wasn't good enough. I used to think that, I'm never going to be able to get these good grades like those people or like other people I see at school. I'm not going to be able to be good enough. And the way I shifted my mindset, I still was like, why can't I be good enough? What is the difference between me and this person? Obviously, I can see that they have habits. I don't have habits, so I'm going to start implementing habits. I don't have a good mindset, so I'm going to start thinking better. Pretending that I'm like the smartest person ever, even though I'm not. I start thinking that I'm so smart, I'm so good at studying. Studying is so fun. Studying allows me to do things and allows me to become more productive. Just convince my brain that studying was fun, I'm good at studying, and I enjoy studying. And then over time, as I started thinking like this, I did start to enjoy studying. I would subconsciously close my phone and start studying. Stuff like this doesn't happen overnight. If you want to be better, you have to compare yourself to others in a positive way to see, this is where I'm at right now and this is where I want to be. So the difference between the two people that I want to be, you have to find out how to get there on your own. So everyone is going to be slightly different. If you use the tips I said in this video, it's going to be much easier to be able to think of studying as a low risk, high reward activity. You're also going to be able to focus much easier. You're going to find it much easier to study. The personal achievement from person to person is going to be slightly different. If you set your standards high and you reach for those standards, even if you don't get where you wanted to get, at the end of the day, you're gonna be better than who you were yesterday. Why not set a higher standard for yourself? It all sounds really broad, but it's so simple. You need to stop feeling sorry for yourself. You need to stop thinking that you're not good enough. You need to stop thinking that there's someone else just has a better life than you, because that's not true. If you truly want to trick yourself into studying, you have to convince yourself that you enjoy it. You have to convince yourself that it's fun. You have to convince yourself that you're smart. You have to really put this into your mindset and practice this through the way that you act, through the way that you talk, and through the way that you present yourself, especially during exams. Even if you're not as confident as you thought you were going to be, if you keep on pretending and you keep on putting in the action while you're pretending, one day you're going to be able to actually enjoy studying, you're going to be able to find joy in studying, and you're going to see the benefits and the way that you feel towards your ability. There's no lies in the way that I overcome my hatred for studying. It was implementing a lot of routine into my study and also viewing my ability to study and my academic ability in a more positive light, having a growth mindset, thinking that even if I make mistakes, even if I fail, it's going to be okay because I'm going to try my hardest. It really comes down to how you view the way you study. Convince yourself that you love studying, and over time you'll no longer actually need to convince yourself, and it just kind of becomes a part of your routine. This video wasn't much on the dopamine side or the overcoming your phone addict side, which I do have a video on, you guys can check that out, but it is more about the actions that you take and the way you perceive your actions. At the end of the day, the only person that isn't benefiting from studying isn't your friends, isn't your teachers, isn't your parents. You're only hurting yourself. So good luck when you're studying, and I hope this video kind of helped to those that were a little bit stuck on trying to start studying, or were kind of in the same mentality that I was in about a couple years ago. I hope that you guys do implement some sort of routine that I've taught you into your life, and kind of just reminding yourself to have a positive mindset when you're viewing the way that you study. Have fun studying.